Hello, everyone. So in this video, I want to talk about scientific notation. All right, let's get to it. So when you think of scientific notation, think of trying to summarize or make very large numbers look decent in some way, or very, very small numbers. You're trying to make it look nicer or more decent, as I earlier said. It is a method that is especially useful for writing very large or very small numbers. Now, to write a number in scientific notation, write it as a product of a number between 1 and 10 and a power of 10. Now, what this means is that I want to write this number. This number is a very small number, 0.000938. It's very small. So I want to write it in scientific notation. Now, to write it in scientific notation, you're going to write it as a product. Remember, product means times. A product of a number between 1 and 10. So any number between 1 and 10 is fine. You don't want to go to 10 or above. You don't want to go to 1 and then below 1. You don't want that. So you want between 1 and 10. So if I want to change this small number to anything between 1 and 10, then I have to get the point to this part right here. See what I'm doing? So you're getting 9.38. 9.38. But you don't want to do 9.38. 9.38 is not equal to 0.000000938. No. So what you're going to do is that you're going to multiply this by the power of 10. So we're going to exponents. Now, moving the point from this point to that, let's see. You're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 9.38. You move the point 6 times. So we're going to do 10 to the power negative 6. Negative 6. So when I'm moving the point to the right, or if I'm moving the point from a very small number to a big number, here I'm going from 0.000000009 to 9.38. So I'm going small to big from left to right, then my 10 would have an exponent that is negative. An exponent that is negative. Now, what about if I have a number like this? Let's do 2,587 point, going to put a point here, point 6. Oops. So this is not a very, very large number, but we're going to use that. Now, this time around, remember, I need a number between 1 and 10. For this whole thing to change to a number between 1 and 10, the point must move there. I have to get 2 points. You see it? 2 points. So I'm going to write that down. 2.5876 times, because 2.5 is not the same as 2,587.6, times. I'm going to put my 10 here, and then I'm going to check the number of times I move this. 1, 2, 3. 3 times. So I'm going to put positive 3 on top. Again, here, the number was a large number, and it's going to become a small number. And that is why I'm moving the point from right to left. Anytime you are going big to small, you have to get a positive exponent. So here I have 3. I have 3. All right, let's keep going. So let's look at this problem real quick. So with this one, let's cancel this. Out. You're writing 226 in scientific notation. So to do this, remember 226 has a point 0 here. But because I need a number between 1 and 10, I'm going to move the point to this part. So I'm going to have 2.26. But the number was 226. And now it's at 2.26. How many times did I move the point? One, two times, times 10 to the power 2. Now, you know that 10 to the power 2 is 100. 10 to the power 2 is 10 times 10. 10 times 10, which is 100. And you could always double check on the calculator. So 2.26 times 100, yes, it is 226. 226. Okay. Let's move on to another example. So let's say that we've got 26,727. Now you want to change this or write this in scientific notation. Right now, this is in a standard form. It's just a number. To do that, your point is going to be here. So you're going from here to there. So I'm going from right to left. The number is going to get small. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So I have 2.6727 times 10 to the power 4. 10 to the power 4. 10 to the power 4 is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which is 10,000. So it's 2.6727 times 10,000. And that should bring you to 26,727. Now, sometimes you could also have a number like this, 2.15. If you're changing 2.15 to scientific notation, it's already uh, set up in a way that the number is less than 10 and it's between 1 and 10, which is good. So 2.15, there's nothing you could do about it. So you just do times 10 to the power 0. Remember, 10 to the power 0 is 1. If you've not watched my rules of exponents video, you could go back and then watch it. I explained this in that video. It's called the zero exponent rule. Any number to the power 0 is 1. So for this one, you don't do much. It's 10 to the power 0 because you don't move it. So how many times did you move it? 0 times. Move the point 0 times. And that's about it. And that's about it. With this one, we're going to do write 2,738 in scientific notation. So I have to move the point such that I'm going to have a number between 1 and 10. So I've got 2.738. How many times am I moving the point? Moving the point 1, 2, 3 times. 3 times to the left, which means the number got smaller. Because the number got smaller, I'm multiplying by a positive exponent. 10 to the power 3. 10 to the power 3. Well, let's take one more 0.00392. So we are supposed to write this in scientific notation, which means we are turning this to a number between 1 and 10, and then we multiply by the product of tens. So with this one, we're going from here to there. And we're moving the point 1, 2, 3 times. So 3.92. So the number went from 0.000, a small number, to a bigger number. So we do times 10 raised to the power negative 3. Negative 3. Negative 3. Okay. In this one, we've got a problem. It says, write 2.67 times 10 to the power 2 as a decimal, or write it in the standard form. So 2.67 times 10 to the power 2. Now, you could go to the calculator and then do 2.67 times 10 times 10, which is 2 times. 10 times 10, which is 100. So that gives you 267. Or because you have, so because you have 10 to the power 2, you are multiplying. So you're moving the point 2 times to the right, 2 times to the right. So that gives you 267. That's another way you move the points. That's another way to do it. Okay. Now we want to take another step and then go into something that has more steps. So we are multiplying 4.5 times 10 to the power 8 times 5.2 times 10 to the power negative 14. We are going to keep our final answer in scientific notation. We're going to keep our final answer in scientific notation. So for a problem like this, the first thing you have to do is that you have to make sure that you bring all the exponents together and all the numbers together. So I'm going to do is like grouping like terms. 4.5 times 5.2 times 10 to the power 8 times 10 to the power negative 14. And then you're going to go to your calculator and then do 4.5 times 5.2. And that gives you 23.4. And then for these two, you're going to multiply them. Here, you're going to use the product rule. So this will give you times 10 to the power 8 plus negative 14. Remember the product rule? You could go back to the rules of exponent video and then watch that. So this gives me 23.4 times 10 to the power 8 plus times negative. Positive times negative is negative. So 8 minus 14, which is negative 6. Negative 6. But I'm not done because this is not in scientific notation. For it to be in scientific notation, it has to be 2.34. So I'm going to convert this to scientific notation. And to do that, I've got to move the point one time to the left. So from 23, it goes to 2.34. I only moved the point one time, and it got smaller. It got smaller, so I put a positive exponent or positive power 1 there. And then I've got 10 to the power negative 6. I've got this one here. So now I've got like terms again, kind of like terms. So I've got to multiply them, and you use the product rule again. So this would give me 2.34 times 10 to the power 1 plus negative 6. 2.34 times 10 to the power negative 5. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. Now it's in scientific notation. And that's it. You're done with the problem. Okay? Oops. You're done with the problem. We're going to try another one. This time around, we're going to do a division one. 2.6 times 10 to the power negative 4 divided by 1.04 times 10 to the power negative 5. So, like we did with the multiplication, you're going to deal with these separately. So you've got 2.6 divided by 1.04 times 10 to the power negative 4 over 10 to the power negative 5. So you divide them. You could keep this, it doesn't matter. You divide them. So you go to the calculator and then you do 2.6 divided by 1.04, and that gives me 2.5 times. Now you're going to use the quotient rule. Negative 4 is dividing, so you do minus negative 5. Minus because it's a quotient rule. So I have 2.5. The good thing is that 2.5 is already in scientific notation times 10 to the power negative 4. Negative times negative is positive. So you've got a plus here. Yep, you've got a plus. So this gives me 2.5 times 10 to the power negative 4 plus 5 is 1. And that's it. It's in scientific notation now. So I hope these helped. So keep practicing and yeah, and keep smiling. All right, let's try another one. So we've got 4.8 times 10 to the power negative 7 divided by 1.6 times 10 to the power negative 11. So again, you kind of divide them and then into 2, and then divide 4.8 by 1.6, and that gives you 3. 4.8 divided by 1.6 is 3 times 10 to the power negative 7. That you have to divide 2. You use the quotient rule minus negative 11. So this will give me 3 times 10 to the power negative 7 plus 11. 3 times 10 to the power 4. Negative 7 plus 11 is 4. So this should give me 3.0 times 10 to the power 4. So I've got it in scientific notation, 3.0 times 10 to the power 4. And that is it. Right, let's try this one. It's going to be the last one. You've got 4.5 times 10 to the power 6. Oh, squared. So this, if you watched the rules of exponent video that I made, is going to affect everything in the parentheses. So you're going to have 4.5 squared and then times 10 to the power 6 squared. So you go to your calculator and you do 4.5 times 4.5, which is 20.25. But that is not in scientific notation, so you've got to watch out. Times, now from the power rule, this is 10 to the power 6 times 2, which is 10 to the power 12. So 10 to the power 12. So you've got to fix this. From 20.25, it has to be 2.025. But you've got to move the point one time. So you're making the number smaller, which means you're doing 2.025 times, I move the point one time to the left to make the number smaller times 10 to the power 12. So now you could apply the product rule to this 2.025 times 10 to the power 1 plus 12. 2.025 times 10 to the power 13. And now we can say that it is in scientific notation. And that's it, you're done. So I'm going to end here. If you have questions, reach out to me in the comment section or send me an email. Bye.